I need a motion and a second. We're going to vote to open the meeting. Cindy makes the motion. Jen seconds it. All those in favor? Aye. Motion has passed to open the meeting. Please stand for the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'd like to make one addition to the agenda under the supervisor's report. You would add an I, all right, tentative budget for 2026. I would be tentative budget for 2026.
Roll right now.
The next item is approval of minutes of the August 25th meeting. There's a motion and a second. We can approve those unless there's concerns, changes.
Yeah, we need to get information out of
I think Lawrence, at the bottom of page 1, Lawrence had a concern. So it was about the lease lots. You didn't want to increase the lease lots. You said, but you basically said that if assessment is decreased, okay, that changes the budget indirectly because there's less assessment to collect taxes. To some degree, right, Lawrence?
Yeah, I wasn't saying anything about increase in the lease lots. I made the comment about when any time anything goes off the tax, it would be, take anything off the tax roll, it adds,
Yeah,
it decreases the overall budget,
Yeah,
overall income.
and that's true. Any other changes? A motion and a second then, please. Tim makes the motion. Cindy seconds it. All those in favor? Aye. Motion passed to approve the minutes. Next, the cemetery committee has been working hard, and so is there thoughts to share with us?
Yeah, I'll just see if I can open it up right here. Basically, the notice we posted, we did post a notice on Facebook a while back. We talked about the lawn care, what it was, but that we were going to put a sign up asking not that they not plant trees, bushes, or flowers, etc. One of the big problems we have in the cemetery is overgrowth. Someone plants a tree next to a headstone, and it's a small tree when they get it, and then all of a sudden it's this massive tree that's just about to knock over the headstone. So we don't want any trees, we don't want any bushes. A lot of people put them in with all good intentions, and then all of a sudden this bush is out of control. There's nobody coming to the gravestone anymore, and it's becoming somewhat of a problem. Some of the plants that people have done have overgrown headstones towards the back of it. All plastic items around the headstones, flowers, windmills, etc., need to be removed before winter. We actually put the time zone between Veterans Day and the week before Memorial Day. So any of those plastic windmills or whatever else you're putting next to your gravestone, need to remove those for the winter. And then in the spring, when they come, they can do a proper cleaning of all of the sites. It's kind of gotten in the way. I mean, they're doing a great job mowing the lawn here. I think it's probably been the best we've ever seen it, but it does get hard. Those bushes get in the way. So those we'll look at cleaning those up and getting rid of the small trees that now have grown up. No fences around the headstone and nothing more than around 2 feet away from the headstone. So some people make a little kind of memorial in front of it, and we don't mind that, but We need to keep it so that the lawn crews can continue to do their job and so that we keep it clean and presentable. So I'm gonna retype this up, but we'd like to have it as, propose it as a resolution and then have the sign made.
Correct. A set of rules.
Yep.
That's all.
So I have it all here, I'll put it together a little better typed up, and then pass it as a resolution. Basically, all the stuff is basically in there, it just has other notes from before that I wanna take out and rewrite that.
And when I heard, everything makes sense. All right, that these rules that you want to establish. Seems to be a lot of common sense there.
And then we all agreed we should probably have a sign up there posting the rules and regulations so people know. And then repost to Facebook, maybe put it in the paper, try to notify as many people as possible. Some of the stuff though there has been,
You mentioned something about, you didn't say no flowers.
no,
What it would be, like if you're putting perennials in,
right,
they can't be if anything goes beyond 2 feet, it's gonna be
Yeah.
taken out.
Do we have a sign up there for no ATVs, UTVs?
I don't think so.
I make a recommendation that we need to put a sign up there, keep UTVs out of it. I'm no disrespect to the people, elderly, whoever go in there, but ATVs and UTVs don't belong going around the trails in the cemetery.
Any other questions or comments?
At the end of the seniors for you.
Okay.
Picture of it, or.
Yep. You send that to me and I'll use that, we'll use it as part of
I
our,
don't think if there's anything you can use.
what's that?
If there's anything here you want to use.
Yeah.
All right, thank you.
So Ernie, if they agree on this tonight, then he can get back with me and I can do a resolution and it can be done for the next meeting.
Yep.
We just need approval.
All right, we need a motion. that-
I'd rather see it, before we do a resolution, I'd rather see it all typed up and written up before we go on.
Okay,
So we know exactly.
we'll do it for
what
the
we're-
next board meeting, we'll
Yeah.
sign it and put it in. Okay,
So we know exactly what we're saying.
Okay, that'll be the plan then, okay? We'll see it in writing and then, we'll pass it. Moving on to the supervisor's report, financials for the month of August. Any questions or concerns?
I didn't have-
I have one,
Yes, sir.
JNF trash, rubbish removal.
Right.
Do we get an increase in our fee or will we be behind a month on payment? I see 2 separate checks wrote last month for it, one for 100, one for 200. Do you know why?
Okay, now, there was an additional pickup around the 4th in the campground that I personally asked for. So that's why you see that double number.
Okay.
Okay,
No, I was asking.
because there's a huge volume of garbage that had to be taken care of. All right? All right, we'll move on then, if there's no additional questions. All right, we have a situation, okay, where we've had leaky roofs, okay? Clearly in the bus garage, okay, particularly around where the ventilation of the modines goes up through the roof, okay? There's serious leaks there that have to be fixed. We advertised, I had 2 contractors that came forward, all right, with all sorts of recommendations. So we kind of expanded, okay, the work we needed to have done. So we're looking at fixing, okay, the holes in the roof, all right, in the bus garage. They also said, the contractors observed, where in the highway garage, where the modine ventilates through the roof, it's holding pretty good, but it's only going to be a matter of time. So while they're up there, they're going to replace, okay, the column that goes on that. Also, we had snow collapse, okay, the break room roof, the tool room roof. So we have quotes, okay, to repair that roof. I also asked them to scan, okay, the entire roof, okay, from the front all the way to the back. And so we were looking at loose nails or nails that didn't have grommets. So these would be to deal with the minor leaks that we had. If those are replaced, that would be an improvement. Okay. Also, there's what's the right word? There's a soffit here in the front of the building, particularly in front of the firehouse. It's flapping in the wind, right? So I asked them to do a quote to fix the soffit. There's also painting around the chimney where the wood burning furnace is. They're looking at that. One of the contractors gave us two quotes on the shed. He wants to tear the roof entirely off the shed, meaning the tool room, okay, as well as the break room. So we had two different quotes there to do that. I let him put both down there, but I said, really, we're just interested in replacing, okay, the damaged roof. The roof extends over the generator, and that roof seems to be okay. So we have two different quotes. One of them is from Martin's Tree Removal, but he's also gone into repairing roofs, and that's for $7,500. While we have a second quote from JM Construction, which would come to he's got basically $17,000, okay? But then if we wanted to do the full replacement on the shed, okay, it goes up to $14,500. So that's a little bit more expensive.
Looks to me like he's got materials quoted in this.
And he was telling me, well, those materials aren't good enough, okay, is what I heard when I did the tour. So that's why the added expense, because we went ahead and purchased the roofing material and the 2x6.
According to our insurance company specifications. So if it was good enough for our insurance company, it should be good enough for our building code.
I understand, but this is just what I heard,
So
okay?
we already have all the materials
For
for that.
that shed,
Yeah.
okay? Maybe nails or roofing nails, okay? But it's already stockpiled.
Yeah, I mean, we've increased the materials according to our insurance recommendation from a rough up 2x6 to a 2x8 spruce. Sheathing, 5/8 tongue and groove sheathing rather than purlings, and we've already got the galvanized metal to match what's there, so. The whole pressure treated doesn't even make sense to me why you would put pressure treated on a roof. I'm not arguing with the contractor, but
Yeah, I know, it's, different viewpoints, all right? So I think,
Well, even if we took that off, it would be still
it's still
a
more,
lot more.
yeah, than 75.
Yeah.
Another observation that both contractors made is that part of our problems with the vents is that we have trees that overhang the east side, the north side of the building, and this is causing problems, okay? So if a branch breaks off, hits the vent, it pushes it down, and it affects the column. So at some point,
We should think
we
about.
gotta deal with the trees, okay? Or at least some of the branches of the
At
trees. The ones that are overhanging. So what's the board think?
So the guy with the cheaper estimate, he seemed to know what he was doing,
Yes. Yes.
and I guess it's a no-brainer.
I think,
To go with the,
I believe you do a good job.
to go with the cheaper estimate.
And in fact, he came and I gave him a tour, then he came back to double check, all right, the entire roof. So I felt he did a pretty good job of examining the whole situation.
Roger, do you think this is enough with what they're,
I believe so,
okay.
yeah.
I don't know anything about construction, so I'm not weighing too much in on it.
Neither do I, but, I mean, that's what you have to, you know, depend on them to do.
Exactly.
So our anticipation with the break room roof was we were gonna spend about a day with you guys.
Okay.
Ernie and I talked about it before, so if you've got a decent crew that knows how to build a day, you can tear that off, put it back on, you're done. Maybe a little bit more time trying to tie it into the building, because you already have flashing and whatnot up there, so you've gotta slide it underneath, but other than that, the rest of it's all cosmetic. And then up on the flat roof as far as ceiling and stuff, and this is a pretty good price.
I make a motion to, okay,
Did you say it was Martin's? Because
Yes.
it's not on the paper.
Okay, so it's Peter and Mike Martin,
Thank you.
Roofing Company, for $7,500. So Cindy made the motion, Tim seconded it, all those in favor? We're in the unanimous, okay, so that bid is accepted. For $7,500. All right, our campground closes, okay, on this Sunday, which is, I believe, the 28th. And so we're in the mode of slowly shutting things down so that we can close the place down. And so by the 30th, the campground will be closed. And the water will be flushed out of all of the drains, okay, and water lines, all right, so we don't have ruptures from icy conditions.
And for on the Sunday, is it still possible for us to use the bathroom by the administration for the festival?
Yes, yes.
Appreciate that.
It's gonna be open. I'll make sure it's open the whole day, okay?
Great,
It isn't shut down until really the next morning.
great.
Okay,
Because last year, that one was closed, but the other one down below wasn't. So those who had physical challenges were having difficulty getting to that one.
well, thank you for bringing that to my attention. I'll make sure that both bathrooms are open, okay?
Thank you.
Do we skip over B for a reason, or?
Oh,
Oh,
it's
yeah.
because I forgot,
Okay,
okay?
just questioning.
Okay. All right, concession payments. I guess I kind of, it's kind of way down, but it's still the same people, all right, that are behind. So I think it's time to send letters that if there's no movement, okay, we'll think, okay, about eviction. So I know that's a process, we'll have to get the attorney involved. There'll be we'll give a warning at least, and then if there's no movement, then we'll get a formal letter. And I think according to the lease, we got to do 60-day notice, all right? The lease says 60 days. And so we'll make that move. And it doesn't have to be an eviction, maybe they can sell it, okay, or transfer the lease to a relative who can afford it. So there'll be options given, okay, to the individual. But we'll see what happens here, okay? But, we're kind of way down, but we need to, it'd be nice if that sheet was blank by this time. Yes, sir.
If you said it, I didn't hear it. How many?
Is there 4 names there?
There's 4 names.
4 names.
No,
Thank
actually 3. Well, okay.
Yeah.
Are these related?
They might be related, but it's different lots.
Okay, so it would be.
So that's what I'm looking to do there. Hopefully clean that up. Any other questions? All right, the next town board meeting, okay, is Monday, October 27th at 6:30. Just as a point. Procurement policy, all right, I guess what I'm interested in doing here is, this is the policy that we had, but there was no signature or date on it from 2011. So I just had Tricia Peck retype this, all right? And then put 2025 on it, because I was tired of waiting, all right? So I'd like to just move forward, and then at any time in the future, we can modify this. But we'll have a more current policy in 2011 with no signature at the bottom of it. So I'm just trying to tighten this all
2003 is the last one I had in my office that was signed.
It
It's
was
the same
signed.
as identical.
I'll make a motion.
up. Cindy makes the motion. Jim seconds it. All those in favor? Aye. Motion passed. Thank you.
Make sure you sign it.
She signs
Oh,
it. She signs it, not me, all right? So on August 28th, I went to a workshop, okay, sponsored by the New York State Association of Towns, okay? And it was a very worthwhile conference, and so this is the packet. I know some people will think that it's killing trees, but this is the packet that I received. All right, and the individuals from Lavella, okay, were experts on this, okay? They knew, there's scores of grants, okay, that were outlined, okay, in this package. Of course, you can sign a contract with this company and they'll help you create the grant, okay? Then you can have packages for 1 or 2 grants. They'll gladly help you navigate through this whole system. So it was very worthwhile. And there's scores of places that we could get money. But I heard the same thing. You gotta have your AUDs up to snuff, okay? AFRs, the annual financial report, which is the new terminology for it. You gotta have all of those up to date to show that you have your financial house in order. And when you have your house in order, then you can apply for these grants. Otherwise, you go nowhere. So we're currently, okay, working on 2023, all right? So we're inching closer. But that's where we stand with this. So I got a lot of information and there's help out there. However, we've got to get caught up with that. And we've come a long way over the last 2 and 3 quarters, but we're still not at the finish line. Any questions? Video camera surveillance system. This is inching along, okay? I think one of the things that we have now is that, there was a request to dig and plant these cable lines next to the road. They've been told no, that they gotta string it up on the poles, okay? So then they gotta ask the owners of the poles whether they can put it up. So I think this is the delay that we're dealing with here. Okay, so we're moving slowly on this, ever so slowly, but that's where we stand.
Can I make a comment on that?
Go ahead, sir.
So the reason their request was denied, again, on the South River Road, we have electrical transmission lines going from the power dam over to the unit. And we also have our water main coming from the pump house down through on one side of the road, and our water line going up to the beach house on the other side of the road, okay, plus several culverts. They'd have to travel, trench through the beach parking lot, all the blacktop at the boat ramp. And in the past, if anybody's ever been up the Blue Mountain Road with this company trenching, it's a disaster, a horrible disaster. It's not done properly, never was. So I denied their dig request to go up the South River Road with that cable, because they will not take the time to do it right, clean it up when it's done, and make it right. So they can put it on the poles just like everybody else.
Any questions? All right, we'll move on to a tentative budget for 2026. So my apologies, okay, I've been moving through this, but I just have one for the general budget and for the highway. I have not completed it for the water and the sewer, but that'll be done shortly. So we'll move forward here if people want to look at this. The first page that you see, okay, is estimated revenues for the general fund. And you can see in many cases, you look at what I projected for 2025, we kind of fell short, all right? So therefore, I kind of lowered my expectation in terms of revenue. For example, okay, you see raise taxes general fund, but I'll come back to that, all right? You'll see that payment in lieu of taxes, okay, we didn't get close to 10,000, so I only projected 8,000 there. The same thing, okay, interest penalties and taxes, we didn't reach 3,000, so I projected 2,500. For the franchises, I projected $11,000. We only got, 9,500. So I projected lower, okay, revenue numbers based on what happened in 2025. We can see that the clerk fees were up, so I projected a higher number there of 4,500. Fire code and inspections, all right, it didn't come in as high as I wanted, so I only projected 500 as opposed to 650. The revenue from parks and recreation, which is really the campground, projected 82,000. I think we're going to fall short, so I only projected 80,000. You look at concessions, these are all the leases on the North and South River Road, projected in 95, 103,000, and I'm projecting only 100,000. So you can see in that category, our revenue is slightly down based on what happened in 2025. So these are, the next area is use of money in property. It's real rental property. So that's an exact number. We pulled in 38,000. We're going to get another 1,000 more. So that 30,000 is a solid number. That 39,000 is a solid number, excuse me. Permits, we're kind of looking that we came in around $2,250, and I'm projecting the same for this year. Justice fees, all right, came in much lower than the 3,500 projected in 2025, and so I lowered the number to 2,000. You see an insurance recovery of 17,247. That was for the collapsed roof, all right, next to the bus garage that we are now repairing. Highway garage. The tool room and the break room. So we can't expect that, okay? You never know when you're gonna have an insurance recovery, so it's zero for the upcoming year. State aid, it's pretty been much the same over the last 4 years, $7,039. And that's a pretty solid number. Mortgage tax, I projected $3,500. We only brought in almost $3,000 at $2,275. State aid other, occasionally we get a little bit more. We didn't come close to 5,000, so I'm only projecting 2,500 there. Then right now I'm looking at an unexpected fund balance of rolling over $10,000. So I'm looking at revenue for the general budget for $598,279. So if we're gonna match, and that's what our expenditures are, and we'll go look at that shortly. In order to reach that $598,279, we're looking at a tax levy, okay, of $328,690. So that's the top number, right at the top. That's a $24,606 increase. So that's an 8% increase. We're looking at taxes in the general budget, in the tentative budget. This is not a final budget, it's a tentative budget. So let's look at expenditures. So let's go to page 2. You go down to 3/4 of the way down of that page. You see general fund appropriations. All right, for the town board and their salaries, it comes to $10,000. It's been that way for many years, no change there. The town justice, all right, and his needs are identical to what he wanted in 2025. So all of his is another $12,000. No change from the previous year. The supervisor line item, my salary remains the same at $20,000. Equipment, $300. Contractual expenses, $400. No changes there. But for my administrative assistant, the bookkeeper, we're looking at an increase of $1.50 an hour. So we see an increase there to $26,400 for her hourly wages. Independent auditing, all right, which is one of my banes, all right. So it was 15,000, it wasn't enough, so I look at an increase to pay the external auditor of $5,000, from 15,000 to 20,000. Tax collector, okay, Amy White asked for an increase of $1,000 to collect taxes for the entire town. And so we see $1,000 increase there. I support that increase. She has a solid reputation. Things are to the penny, as they should be when you collect taxes. She does an excellent job. And in fact, she made a deposit, and then she looked back and it wasn't, okay, in our account. So quickly, I went to the bank and corrected that. So it was, everything was deposited correctly with our deposit slips in the bank, within the bank. Followed up, so there was like $8,000 that wasn't deposited. So that she picked that up and then we checked it out, and the bank corrected their error. So I thank her for that. Budget officer, $500, no change there. I have never collected that salary, but it's there
Can I get it?
for the future. No, you can't have anything, okay? It's the wrong budget, okay? You're in here, you shouldn't even be in the general budget, you should be over on the highway. Okay. All right, tax assessor. All right, the salary, for the new assessor is $14,000, all right? I, increased, okay, contractual expenses. This is to pay the BAR and to pay mileage to the assessor. We kind of went over in that line item this year, so I had another $1,500 there. In other is $18,000. I plan to invite the assessor to the next meeting, and we'll talk, okay, about what he thinks we would need to do the reevaluation. And at least that 18,000 would give us a start, or maybe we'll have to add to it, I don't know. But we will get his professional judgment on that. Town clerk. Salary remains the same. I added $500 for equipment, just in case that's necessary. And contractual expenses, okay, is increased from $800 to $1,000. What I would really like for Joe Susi to do is the Association of Towns will have a workshop in January down in Albany. And they have specialized meetings for town clerk. And I think it would be highly valuable if she attended. I went there 2 years ago in January, and it's just unbelievable what you learn. It's overwhelming. But there's so many different parts of the town clerk's job. I think an official training session would be in her best interest. So I'm willing to tweak that. If we need more money to send her to a conference, we'll do that. So that's another one that's, we might wind up changing for that reason. All right, attorney, keeping it at $6,000. Buildings, we're looking at pretty much keeping the monies pretty much the same, okay, that we had in 1995. That might change, but right now, it's gonna stay at $70,000. Okay,
Are you having a moment tonight, Ernie? That's the second time you've said 1995.
1995. He's played the figure too many times.
yeah,
Numbers getting to you tonight?
they might be getting to me, okay,
It's 2025.
yes. Thank you. I'm sorry, this is pretty tedious stuff here. All right. Well, now I've been corrected, thank you, Roger. Special items, unallocated insurance, okay, the $48,000 worked, all right? So, I cranked it up, okay? That's like almost another 10% for next year. Municipal Association dues, we were a little short this year, so I added $500 to move it to $2,000. Taxes on real property, onward. We pay some school tax, okay, and other taxes. And so, we're well within our range at $4,000. And then contingent, $5,000. All right, moving along, public safety. In the past, we granted $500 to the Cat Palace. The number remains the same. Personal services, all right, our animal control officers were paid $1,500, and they gladly took that. So I think they deserve a little bit more, so I'm proposing another $500 for the dog control officers, from $1,500 to $2,000.
They're worth it.
I think so.
They're doing an amazing job.
And I asked them, okay,